home studio engineers. Welcome back to what day we on here? Day 10 of this 30-day journey to better home studio mixes. Thank you so much for checking out the Home Recording Network. Today we're focusing on EQing your cymbals and overheads. In case you missed it, here is the mix we're going over this month. And I'll just let you focus on the cymbals and listen to those, since that's what we're kind of going over today. And I'll occasionally solo the drums here. These kings and queens, they all fall, they all fall. All right, first, I just want to talk about your overhead mics and your cymbal mics, whatever you want to call them. So there's basically two schools of thought when it comes to these microphones and where they should be placed, how they should be treated. And I want to tell you which side of the fence I'm on. So if you are tracking your own drums at home, the mic placement is going to kind of determine how you're going to use these mics, how you're going to mix these microphones. So I like to treat my overheads as cymbal mics. Some people believe that the overhead mics should be the overall picture of the drum kit, and they like to place them really high above the kit, make sure the snare is centered, and they're going to use a lot of the frequencies in those microphones as kind of a picture for the drum kit. Well, I like to do things a little differently, and a lot of people like to do them this way. I like to basically just place my overheads above the crash cymbals. So I will actually place them a lot closer to the cymbals than they actually are in this picture sometimes. And I've even stopped worrying about making sure that the snare is equidistant from both microphones. I really don't care about the snare sound in these mics. All I'm worried about is, the crash cymbals. And the reason that I like to do this is because I've never really gotten a good snare, kick, and tom sound in my overheads. The close mics always sound way better. So I like to use those and put the close mics in the forefront and try to remove as much of the kick and snare from these overheads or cymbal mics as possible. So I'm just going to kind of start from scratch here and show you what I would typically do. And we'll just open up Pro Q3, which is what I usually use on my overheads or cymbal mics. And let's just see what we kind of started off with here. So here's the overheads. All right, so decent overhead sound, but you hear all that low end from the kick drum. It just sounds like absolute trash. Yeah, so we don't need that in there. So the first thing I do when I'm EQing my overheads is I like to just do a high pass filter all the way up to about 300 hertz. And we can just get rid of a lot of that garbage low end. But as you can hear, there's still some getting through. So what we can do then is just take a bell and bring it back here to about 200 and bring this down a little bit. So we're getting close to, only having cymbals in here. It's definitely thinned out a lot, which is what I'm going for. But now we have to work on the snare a little bit. So that boxy area that I talked about in the EQing snare drum video basically the same deal with this. We want to take out some 500. Yeah, that's what we don't want. So we can just take a little bit of that out. And there we go. Now, a lot of people like to do a 12K shelf boost on cymbals if they need to be brighter. I got to tell you, I have stopped doing this because the microphones I use just happen to be bright enough. So I don't really ever have to do this, but I just want you to know that this is an area where you can add some sparkle and shine to your cymbals. If you needed to. So that is a possible area where you might need to boost. And another area where you can take some frequencies out is anywhere from about 3K to 5K. So this is some harshness here. And what I like to do is change this to a 48 dB per octave slope here and skinny it up. And we can really hear these harsh frequencies around 4K. So if your cymbals are just too harsh, that's always an area that you can tame down a little bit. And just ducking out a little bit right there is going to almost give you a smoother cymbal sound. And now we can throw these overheads or cymbal mics in with the rest of the kit. Guys, that is basically it for EQing these overhead microphones. If you like this video or it helped you in any way, don't forget to like and subscribe because any support just allows me to basically reach more people and help out more home studio engineers that might need assistance. I hope you come back for day 11, in which we're going to actually start going over the room microphones that are in this mix. And then we'll eventually move on through the rest of the drum kit and start going through the rest of the instruments in the song. Happy mixing, guys. Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to download your free Ultimate Home Studio Mix Guide with your go-to EQ and compression settings for all your tracks. And also be sure to register for my free online mix training that I hold a couple times a week so that you can learn how to make radio quality music from your home without breaking the bank.